I used to have this thing where I would not talk to young people. I would not acknowledge them. I wanted nothing to do with them. You know why? Because I have a zero tolerance for disrespect and I can justify anything in my head. That's just how messed up I am in the head, okay? Till one day, but I can't help from opening. Sometimes I open my mouth and things just come out. You know what I'm saying? Especially now since I gave the Holy Spirit permission, it's like I open my mouth and stuff come out because I said I want to talk to these young people, but I do. So I went to the store. This was like mid-morning on a school day. So I see this young man out there hustling with, the rest of them. But he looks around my son's age. My son was in 11th grade. So I said, hey, young man, come here. Let me talk to you for a minute. Always take them away from their peers. Don't ever confront them in front of their peers. That's a big mistake. Things can easily go wrong. So I pulled him up and I said, how old are you? And he said, 15. I said, why are you not in school? And he said, oh, I dropped out. So I said, check this out. I said, you need to take your ass back to school. He said he was in the 12th grade and go ahead and graduate. Okay? And then everybody not built for college. I understand that. But go to a trade school. Get a trade. I said, my middle son, he drive trucks now. Okay, he used to work for Amazon, but now he driving trucks and he is buying his own truck. I said, so you go back and then you go to a trade school. I said, and I can guarantee you, I said, I make you a $50 bet that if you come back in a year and a half or 2 years, everything that's going on out here is still going to be going on. The faces might change, but the process is going to remain the same. I said, and then if you still want to be in the grind, I said, you can have people working for you. You wouldn't even have to be out here. And you know what he said? I mean, and I talked to him for maybe an hour or so. And I said, well, that's all I got to say. It's up to you. And he looked at me and he said, Miss, he said, I live with my mother and my grandmother. He said, and they have never told me the things that you have just told me and explained to me. He said, they have never educated me on those things. He said, I'm going back. Well, about a year or so later, I'm walking up the street to go to the same store. And I hear somebody saying, Miss. I look around because I don't pay attention to that because people always trying to call out to me and talk to me. For some reason, I be trying to ignore people. You know what I'm saying? Because I know this world hates me, So I've always known that. But some people I can't ignore because they're going to talk to me anyway. So he ran up on me and I was like, yeah. He said, here. And I said, what? He said, here. And he gave me a crisp $100 bill. I said, what is this for? He said, do you remember you talked me into going back to school and you made that $50 bet that everything is going to be the same when I come back? It's just going to be different faces. He said, well, you was right. And instead of giving you $50, I'm giving you $100. And I said, oh, he said, can I hug you? I said, yes. And we hugged and I felt good about that. A few years ago, I had one of my cousins tell me that he has been clean over 30 years because of something I said to him, and I didn't even remember it. I was in medical school, and so I allowed my son, I only had one at that time, to stay in Texas with my aunt because she said, just let me keep him so you can finish school because I worked full time and I was trying to, and I was going to school. So my schedule was hectic. He was in preschool. I had to drop him off. Then the bus would take him to the daycare. Then I would pick him up from the daycare. You know what I'm saying? And then in the evening, I had this another lady that I was paying her to watch him. So it was very hectic and strange because I don't give my children away. I keep, my children are my children. But I appreciated the help because I never got help from anybody ever in no form or fashion. And this was my mother's middle sister. They didn't even know they were sisters until years ago. You know, she wanted to be a part of her sister's lineage. So I allowed my son to stay there, until I got finished. And I allowed my cousin to come and stay in my son's room because he said he had no place to go. He used to work at the shipyard. He was a longshoreman. And he was a heroin addict. And I went down the basement one day to wash clothes, and his clothes was down there. And so I was going to put his dirty clothes in the washing machine. And I put my hand in his pocket to pull the stuff out the pockets. And there was a syringe in there. And it pissed me off. So when he came in, I said, look at this SHRT. I said, do you know I could have got stuck with this needle? I said, how dare you bring these things in my house when you're sleeping in my son's room? I said, you should be ashamed of yourself. I said, you need to get your shit together. And come to find out 30 years later that I made him feel so small, he said. And he said everything I was saying was right. He said it hurt him, but he signed himself in, he got detox, and he's been clean ever since. And I didn't know that. For 30 years, I didn't know that. So sometimes we can have an impression on people without even realizing it. And that's a great thing. Because like I said, sometimes things come out of my mouth. Now, I'm on the bus the other day. And this lady, because you know what I always do? I always take them earphones, put them in my ear, and take the end of it and put it in my shirt, even though it ain't attached to nothing. So it could seem like I'm listening to something. Because certain people always want to talk to me. And when they try to talk to me, I'll look at them and do like this, saying, I can't hear you. But they'll keep talking. So I'll just go ahead and take the things out, listen to them, and talk to them. So this lady, she said, you know what? I said, excuse me? She said, yes, do you know what? She said, you got a light in you. And she said, I don't know what you are. She said, but you're something different. In these last 3 months, people keep different people because I know I can't put all of my issues on one person. So when I talk to certain people, I say certain things to certain people. And I am not an angel. Okay, people need to stop saying that. I'm a human being just like they are. I may be a little different on the inside, in my psyche, in my emotional state, but I'm still a human being. I don't believe that I could be no angel. But what happened?